Hey everyone, my very first investment property made me over $200,000 in a handful of years.
Oh my God! Wow!
I used the BRRRR strategy, that's a B and 4 R's, to make that happen. I was only 21 years old when I did this the first time. I promise this is super simple, and if you stick with me, you'll be confident you can do the same. Everyone, my name is Zack Boothe, and this channel is created for you to become a successful real estate investor. So if you are serious about being successful as an investor, as an entrepreneur, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now to not miss out on a single video that can put over $1 million in your pocket. And I promise you, there will be content that will do that. Make sure you hit that bell icon to not miss out on a single video. Hey everyone, thanks for being with me today, and I want to make you a millionaire. In today's video, we're going to be covering a strategy that made me a millionaire, and a strategy that, if you use it, will also make you a millionaire. Fun question for you. If I gave you $1 million today, what is the first thing that you would buy? I want to know from you. Put it in the comments. That'll be fun to know. This video is of a two-part series. Part one is all about house hacking, and I will have it pop up here if you haven't caught part one of this series. The BRRRR strategy is going to be part two of this two-part series. We will be breaking down my very first investment property and the life-changing money that it made me, and the lessons that I learned and the strategies that I used to be able to make it a reality. I used both the house hacking and the BRRRR strategy on my first deal that made me hundreds of thousands of dollars. I want you to walk away from watching this video with not just the excitement of the potential of making money, but the understanding of how you can implement these things that I'm going to teach you and change your financial situation. So what is the BRRRR strategy? That's a B and 4 R's. What is it? It stands for buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat. Let's start with the first 3 steps. First step is buy. So you have to get good at finding properties at a massive discount. You have to buy low. If you start off with buying a property too high, the rest of the process will not work. I find all of my massively discounted opportunities and investment opportunities through a strategy called driving for dollars. And I did a video on how to do this, and I'm going to link it here right now. So how do you buy these properties? What money do you use? There's a couple things you can use. You can use your own cash if you have the money. You can use a traditional loan. You can use private money, which is, or a hard money lender, which is basically just higher interest, but it allows you to get into the property even if it's in really bad condition. When it comes to finding those hard money lenders and private money lenders, you can go to your REIA groups, REIA groups. You can Google that, REIA groups near me, and find those groups and go network and find people that will loan. They're in the business of being found and lending to someone like you that would like to use the BRRRR strategy. The second step is rehab. You do this to increase the overall value of the property, as well as increasing the opportunity to get more money for the rent. Be careful to not over renovate your property and spend too much on the renovation. But also be careful to not cut corners, which is, and making it where it's going to be harder to rent the property. The third step is to rent the property, to find a tenant and sign a lease with that tenant. This is very important because you need to have a lease in place for the next part of the process. The banks are going to want to see the income that is being generated from this property. The last 2 steps are just as simple. So the fourth step is refinancing. So the goal is now to get a new loan and cash out all of the value increase that you did in the previous steps. And there's 3 things that you did to increase the value of the property. First, you bought at a discount. So at purchase, you created value. The next thing that you did is you renovated the house. You increased value by doing a remodel at a discount, right? You got the right pricing and you did the right things to increase value. And the third thing that you did is you put quality tenants in place that are going to pay money to live in the property. And that's actually going to increase the value. That's going to allow the banks to see income. It's going to help with your debt to income ratio. It's going to help with a lot of things. So those are the 3 things you did to increase the value. A couple little tips before you get started. You're going to want to have a mortgage broker in your back pocket. You're going to want to be able to have that mortgage broker evaluate your deal before you pull the trigger. So when you have the property under contract, You can show him or her the property and the renovation costs and what it would rent for and what she or he could possibly get you a mortgage for on that property. It'd really mess up your day if you're expecting to be able to get a loan for a certain amount and you don't qualify or the house does not qualify when it's time to refinance. A good mortgage broker is going to be very happy to work with you and evaluate your deal before you ever pull the trigger and be able to get you an analysis of the deal. Once you have gone through that entire process, you've refinanced the property and you've pulled out the profits or the increase in value, you've pulled that out with the refinance, you take that money and repeat and do another one. Once you're holding this property, the tenants will pay for the mortgage, all the maintenance requirements, and they're going to pay for the property for you. You'll be building not only your equity and you're going to be building the value of what you hold in these properties as the value of the house goes up and you keep buying more properties, but you're going to be increasing your cash flow, your passive income with those tenants. Your net worth is going to grow, right? You're going to build wealth over time. With time, the rents will go up. With time, the value of the houses will go up. This is how you're going to quickly build your wealth. To give you some words of caution, you are leveraging debt. There is risk to doing this. A rule of thumb that I follow is if I have a property with a mortgage in place where tenants are supposed to pay my mortgage, I want to make sure that I can afford 3 months vacancy, that I can afford to cover all the expenses, maintenance expenses, vacancies, and an eviction and 3 months vacancies per property that I own. The other thing that I also make sure I calculate is I calculate putting a property manager in place to manage my properties. Even if you plan to start out by managing your own properties, and I do manage actually some of my own properties, but I calculate it as if I put someone in place because there may become a time and a moment in your life that you're no longer able to do it or willing to do it, and you want to make sure that you can afford a property manager. You don't want to buy yourself a second job. Before I go into how I use this strategy in my very first investment property, scroll over and hit that like button for me. A lot of hours is very painful, very time consuming to learn what I'm teaching you here. I create these videos for you to learn faster than I did, to take away some of those pain points that I had when I first started. Please make sure you hit that like button if you found value so far. As I said, this is a part 2 of a 2-part series, and I broke down the very first property that my wife and I purchased. As I said, we use both the house hacking strategy and the BRRRR strategy to get started in real estate investing. So part 1, I broke down how I use the house hacking strategy, and I've already linked a video in this video. But we also use the BRRRR strategy. Let me break down exactly how we used it. We purchased this duplex for $60,000. My mortgage broker that I went to that helped me understand the BRRRR strategy and how it would work, as I said, make sure you have a good mortgage broker. She also got us a $5,000 grant because we were a first-time home buyer, and in that area they offered a grant. So I got $5,000 for free that I never had to pay back, and I didn't have to put any money down to buy the house. So basically I got the house for $55,000 that was completely paid for by the bank. I had saved up some money, and so I had $20,000 is what I used to renovate the house. I didn't have it all immediately, but what I did is I renovated the upstairs to be able to move into the property. And every month I would put away as much as I could to renovate the rest of the house and the exterior and the roof and the yard and everything else that I did. But I spent $20,000 in materials and did all the work myself to fix it up. Once the renovation was completed, I rented the basement unit for $750. And my monthly payment at the time was only about $450. But I had increased the value by a lot. So what I did is I went to the bank and I refinanced. Got my $20,000 back and an additional $60,000 from the bank. So now my new loan was about $130,000. Since I refinanced money out and I didn't sell the property, that $60,000 profit was not a taxable event, so I didn't have to pay any taxes. I was able to take 100% of that $60,000 and the $20,000 that I got back that I had used So that $80,000, I was able to roll it into the next one and go do another property in the exact same way. My monthly payment after the refinance was only about $800 a month, but I could rent both sides of that duplex for like $1,600 a month. I actually hired a property management company to deal with the tenants and to deal with all of the maintenance, and I was receiving mailbox money every single month. After a handful of years, I sold the property for well over $240,000, and all of the remaining profits that I made, I was able to roll into the next investment, and I've been able to snowball my money, and it all started with that one duplex. So the BRRRR strategy is how you invest into real estate without getting your money stuck in any property, and how to pull out your profits without having to pay taxes, and to be able to continue to buy more and more investment properties and truly build your wealth. Remember, BRRRR stands for buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat. It's a strategy on my very first deal, and I've used it and continue to use it, and it's making me a lot of money. You guys should definitely use it as well. You may be struggling to get started. Remember, the first step is being able to buy at a massive discount. If you are wanting help to be able to use the BRRRR strategy to build a rental portfolio, to buy properties at a discount, to flip them, or to wholesale them, I would love to help you. Book a call with me to learn how to get started today. This is my area of expertise. I absolutely love helping people get started in this business. I will teach you how I've helped others make millions of dollars, and I'd love to talk to you about how I can help you do the same. Go to dfdmastery.com/start now to book a call. I also will link it in the show notes. It's very easy. Click on the link, fill out the information, and we'll be talking to you shortly. As I said, this is a part 2 of a 2-part series. I'm going to link it again right here if you did not catch part 1. Thank you so much for being with me today, and we will catch you in the next video.